Let me just get a beverage here. Pardon me. All right. Is it show it's recording on your end too?
I see active. I don't see anything.
So at the top it says like it's like a blinking light or anything.
Got it. There we go.
Cool. All right, just making sure.
Sweet.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Everyman Podcast.
Everyman.
Daryl Campbell. Daryl Campbell. How are you, brother?
I'm doing good, brother Jay. You know, another Everyman day, man. You know, let's get it.
Another day, another podcast.
That's it, baby.
So, what's going on in your world, man? Anything going on?
You know what? Yeah, a lot of stuff is going on. I woke up this morning. That's always a good thing. And then also, because you know, if you don't wake up, you can't be a part of the Everyman podcast. So, that's one of the biggest things there. But yeah, you know, just had an event on Saturday. This past Saturday, my wife threw an event at the Moz Building, 1325 North Randolph, out here in Philly. Pop-up dinner, man. Had about 40 people come out. Your mom was there.
That's right. That's right.
NBV was in the building.
That's right.
And she was showing love, and she was dropping off care packages. She accepted mine as well in my arms. It was great. And lots of food. You know what I mean? Just lots of food, lots of great vibes. My wife showed off her culinary art skills to Radio 1 came out. It was great. Had some media there, and it was just beautiful, gorgeous. And you know, I had some NFL Films personnel come out and support and show love. So, you know, man, it's just God is good, bro. It was awesome. So happy for my wife, and you know, and there'll be more of these pop-up dinner and events to come, and you know, bless people with some really cool energy, man. Synergy. It was awesome.
That's what it's all about, and we'll be dropping that here as soon as we have word on that. What was on the menu?
So let's say we had my father-in-law came to help because he's a chef as well. So I was downstairs. My job responsibility was to run between two kitchens and basically do what they told me to do. I got my hands into some serving a little bit too. But what was on the menu? Because I'm digressing. We had some, and it's really crazy, like from prime rib. We had these prawns, man. These prawns just kind of decorated with the leafy greens around them on plates. I mean, it's all about art, right? And they were about the size of my hand. Now, Brother Jay, you know my hands are pretty big. You know,
that's a massive shrimp.
It's a massive life form on a plate that you can consume. That's what that is. And it tasted great. It was just awesome. There were some, what do we have? We had fish and chips. We had, like I said, prime rib. We had chicken with just like gourmet chicken. It escapes me the words, but it's like this gourmet chicken with, you know, sun-dried tomatoes like in the middle. I don't know how she made them melt like that. It was awesome. We had some good watermelon salads. We had some Grand Marnier, and we had truffles. I mean, wow. I've never had truffles before, but
me neither.
There were truffles there. And then what else did we have? We had, let's see, there's like 7 or 8 other items on the menu. It was just awesome, man. It was awesome.
Well, that's awesome. Hopefully I'll be there for the next one. So the NFL has kind of been dominating the news cycle the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Free agency kicked off with a couple of big trades. So something we've been talking about. It's been a thread through the early goings of the Everyman podcast, which we can finally put to rest. AB has found his home. He was traded to the Oakland Raiders. The Steelers get a 3rd and a 5th round pick. Antonio Brown gets $30 million guaranteed new money, making him the highest paid receiver in the NFL. So he got what he wanted a year after getting what he wanted. And so you think this is a new precedent for player conduct or?
Well, I mean, before we get into precedents, let's just talk about what it is that I wanted And what it is that I'm sure you wanted and the rest of the world wanted is that we no longer have to see a golden mustache on a man.
That's
Or
right.
I
Other
mean,
than
do
Hulk
we?
Hogan. Hulk Hogan is
That's
the only
Hulk
person.
Hogan is the only one that can get away with that,
Yep.
and even till this day. So, AB golden mustache, sea lion dependent. I don't know what that was all about, but like it just needed to stop. And I'm glad the midlife crisis is over and that he's happy in these dawning new colors, so we don't have to be subject to it anymore. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah, might set a little bit of a precedence now. You know what I mean? But it definitely makes some open room for the Steelers to continue dominating the free agent market like they have. So
Yeah, they historically they've been able to draft well later in the rounds, and they never overreach for somebody. And Mike Wallace was a third rounder, Emmanuel Sanders was a third rounder, AB himself, Mr. Big Chest, was
mm-hmm.
was a sixth rounder. I love that. And
Colorful collar.
yeah, exactly. So I'm sure that they'll find somebody late in the draft to replace him. Maybe his cousin Hollywood Brown. That would be pretty salty, but I can't imagine they would do that.
Well, I mean, like they're a great organization. I mean, historically, like you said, they've drafted well, but I mean, just historically, they've been a great franchise. So they know what to do with incoming acquisitions and draft talent. So that's for sure.
Yeah, they picked up today. I saw Mark Barron on a 2-year deal from the Rams. They picked up Dante Moncrief from the Jags, and
Mm-hmm.
Steven Nelson was their premier signing from the cornerback for Kansas City. So I'm pretty excited to see how those guys fit into the system.
For sure.
More tragic to me, I think, and a lot of other AFC North people out there, is the sudden shift of power to the shores of Cleveland.
Dog pound.
The dog pound somehow pulling off the trade to get Odell Beckham from the Giants for a first and a third round pick, and then they ship safety Jabril Peppers over. So I can't even believe I'm saying this, but does this make Cleveland the team to beat in the AFC North?
I mean, it definitely you got to throw that question out there. You got Landry, right? You got Odell Beckham. You got I woke up feeling dangerous. You know what I'm saying?
You took the
QB,
words
like,
out of my mouth.
dude, it's just like there's so much talent just concentrated on this roster, man. It just blows the myelin layer of your mind back. Like it's
Not to
just
mention,
like,
not to mention Nick Chubb. Okay,
oh,
one of my
come on,
favorites.
ground game,
And then
ground game.
Mr. 8-game suspension Kareem Hunt. So,
Yeah,
you
how about
know,
that?
how about that? But
You know
so
what? I almost want to say like this is crazy. It's like so they'll be opening up a can of just open air whoop ass on everybody for 8 games, and then like get an extra boost with Hunt once he comes back in to just turn it loose too. Like this is dangerous, man. This is just dangerous. I mean,
not to mention Myles Garrett.
oh my god, yeah.
I don't understand how this happened in front of like it's like watching a car wreck, because you see it happening in slow motion right before it hits you. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm seeing right now with the Browns. It's like how did they figure out football all of a sudden?
It's like it's like the clown car, right? It hit on like you say car wreck, right? But like this, like VW Bug, circus edition, colliding into a Mack truck. Mack truck gets wrecked, and then they realize that this freaking Bug is compacted with all these great players. Like 200 guys come out ready to just fucking launch like hell on you, and it's just like what is going on here? Like how did that happen? I don't know. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, next thing you know, you got to deal with a couple of alpha males popping out of there.
Nuts, man.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Nick Foles and his big dick energy have landed in Jacksonville with the Jaguars on a 4-year, $88 million deal. Total potential value is $102 million, which is just wild.
Dude.
So it makes him the 11th highest paid quarterback in the league. Has Jacksonville, did they find their guy? Is he worth $22 million a year? What's going on here?
Here's what I can say. And I was talking about this with, a couple guys, that I frequented in the past, as far as a couple former teammates and and such. And what we're saying is that let's just talk about the Eagles for a second. So if you got a guy, right? If you got a guy that is your backup, that takes you to the Super Bowl, you win the Super Bowl, right? And then you come back the next season and the starter, and Carson Wentz, he goes through his further level of growing pains, gets injured, and then you know what? You get that same backup, that same guy to take you to the playoffs, can kind of lead you nearly to the Super Bowl again, and you still kind of want to play around with him. Yeah, I think you have your guy at one place, but he goes to another in the Rams and in the Jaguars, and yeah, I think they're ready to go, man. He's worth 120 million. Plus, he's a great dude, man. You know what I mean? Not just like it's God-fearing Christian man, loves families, all about team. You know what I mean? Believes in holistic approaches when it comes to injuries. Hey, my ribs are freaking shattered. You know what? I'm just gonna pray on that and throw a little Jesus on it.
You gotta love
get
that.
better.
And I know
Dude,
he hangs out with Tony Robbins because I've seen those billboards
Oh yeah.
at 75. So that works for me. But so you think that the Eagles blew it in letting him go?
Here's what I can speak to. I can't speak to upper level organizational stuff because by all means we know that, all of through free agent acquisitions and all the decisions that they have to make. I mean, it's like looking at a map, you know what I mean, and you're a dot in the middle. But what I can speak to is what locker rooms are all about and how locker room synergy is totally important to the success of a team. I say this with as much passion and fervor as I can muster because if you have somebody that's your backup that took you to the Super Bowl and you are unsuccessful and you're wondering, you're looking over, you're saying, that's a good dude. He's led this franchise to one Super Bowl and he's not playing. I wonder why. That's got to break. That breaks down a team. You know what I'm saying? So if anything, at least they have a clean slate now and they can kind of, find an identity for Carson Wentz and how he's going to move with this organization going forward. But I can tell you what, there's definitely, and this is just me speaking from experience here, there's turmoil when you got somebody that's balling on the bench. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's just turmoil. So
because everybody else on the team knows that. They see it in practice, and it only gets exposed sometimes a little too late. I'm kind of with you on that. I don't think Carson Wentz is by any means. I think he's a great quarterback, but the guy won you the Super Bowl. He always. I don't know.
You know what?
I think this might come back to haunt them.
They always talk about potential, right? And they throw this word around the league, ceilings and his draft stock and his potential. You know what? Potential and ceilings, all that means is you just haven't done it yet. So I'm waiting for Carson Wentz to do it. And I think everybody else, I speak for everybody else in saying the same thing. We're just waiting for him to do it, man. You know what I mean? We're waiting for him to stay healthy. We're waiting for him to get out of the RG3 mode and just, knowing you're not really ready, but you're going, you know what I mean? We got to get him out of that. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. He was getting thrashed back there this past season, but at the same time, it seemed like there was some errant moves, on his part too. So we'll see. Hopefully he'll be ready this season and he can, kind of make a shot in the vie for the way the organization is upholding him. So we'll see.
Obviously, Blake Bortles had to move on to make room for Mr. Foles to land in Jacksonville. He's found a new home out in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He signed a 1-year deal to back up Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he can be developed into the talent that everybody thought he was coming into the league as a top 5 pick?
So here's the crazy thing, right? So typically you send, a younger. I should say typically you have a younger QB get groomed by the older one, right? Sure. And we obviously know that Jared Goff is way better than Blake Bortles. So it's like going to be the other way around. Is that right? Is that what's going to happen here? Is Jared Goff going to kind of groom Blake Bortles into the premier, passer that we thought he should have been, is, being drafted in the first? Like it's odd to me to see this dynamic happen, but somebody's got to back him up, right? Somebody's got to be that guy. So we'll see. I mean, it's just strange to even think that Blake Bortles has to get groomed into being that person he was supposed to be. So it's odd.
And there was a lot of turnover there in Jacksonville in his early years there. You know, I think he had a lot of different things he was trying to work out at the same time of learning those offenses. So maybe a little bit of time. And the one thing I can't say about him though that I gotta respect is his attitude and the way he was professional with the media, because he got shit on pretty much and mocked by every national media outlet for 5 years straight. And you never heard anything bad about him. He never acted any sort of way towards the media. Like you can see, like, not comparing him directly, but somebody like Cam Newton won't, he'll get an attitude after a loss, or, so I just got to respect that he handled that with class. So that's the kind of guy that I would probably take a chance on.
You know what? I agree with you, Brother Jay. I also got to say one other thing too, with respect to that. So he does take it in stride, right? He's, a consummate professional, regardless of what's going on, with him. And like you say, all the turnover that he experienced. But we also got to talk about where he's going, right? We got to talk about Sean McVay, and we got to talk about probably the most high-powered offense in the league, premier offense in the league right now. And we got to talk about plans. Why are plans important? Because just as my wife tells me within marriage, if you have no plan for me, then this thing is going to fail, and vice versa. So Sean McVay has a plan for Jared Goff, which is why they're successful. I think Sean McVay getting and acquiring, and the Rams acquiring Blake Bortles, they have a plan for him, which will also make him successful. I don't think he's just a system QB. I think he's somebody that can get integrated into a spot that has, like I say, a good plan for him. So I'm interested to see, how he turns around. But like I said, the dynamic, it's usually older grooming and younger, but younger, and I should say teaming up with the older, it could be a pretty powerful thing. We'll see.
It's definitely going to be an interesting team to watch this year. So one of the moves you were telling me that you think is monumental, shifts the landscape, if you will, is Mr. Michael Bennett taking his talents up north. So what's the deal with him?
So here's one thing I gotta say. I gotta get it out there because I'm not a fan of the Michael Bennett, the activist, the Michael Bennett, brazen, shape and form that he takes with the media, because it just kind of like throws you off. Because you're like, you got this guy that, plays well. His numbers don't jump off the page at all, really. I mean, he had, I think a few years ago, he had, a double-digit sack year, but at the same time, like these last, I want to say 2 years, it really hasn't been that. Now he's made the Pro Bowl a couple times, but the activist / brazen way of speech, that part, I'm not about. But when we talk about ball, if we're talking about going to the New England Patriots, where they take bottom basement guys and turn them into superstars, where going into Super Bowl 53, it's like, oh man, Aaron Donald versus that New England Patriot offensive line, and then who's the star? Fucking Kyle Van Noy.
Yep.
Like, what are we talking about? You didn't hear about Aaron Donald. It was Kyle Van Noy hitting Jared Goff so hard it made him do a soccer slide. Dude, are you kidding me? Are you flipping kidding me? So Michael Bennett, somebody who, 5 or 6 years ago was, on a Seattle, Seahawks defense that was just raping the NFL, is, has transitioned to maybe more of a third down specialist coming to the Philadelphia Eagles. And then, toward the end of the season, when they only want him to come in on third downs and sub packages, now he's playing more of a role in that defense, and now he's going to the New England Patriots. If the New England Patriots can make Kyle Van Noy a god, there's no telling what they can do with Michael Bennett. And that's just my honest to God opinion. You know what I mean? That's just my honest to God opinion.
Now, I read somewhere that Belichick he respects Michael Bennett so much, and he couldn't stop him in that Super Bowl against the Eagles, and that's one of the reasons why he wanted him on his team this time. So I could see Michael Bennett being successful.
Oh, without question. You got to talk about a guy who's got length, he's got speed, he's got strength, he's got explosiveness. You know what I mean? He's able to diagnose a play before it even happens and just cause utter disruption. Not just on passing downs, but run situations too. It's just he's one of those types of players, man. You know, it's not about necessarily the production numbers. It's about just him wreaking havoc in opposing backfields, him being disruptive on every play, him being the type of guy that an offense has to account for every play just so they can get it off. You know what I mean? Whether it happens or doesn't, like they have to account for it, which means that, you know, more attention is garnered toward him than should be based upon his play. So, yeah.
Yeah, you have to have a game plan for him. He's somebody that's going to make the impact. So, NFL's turning into the NBA kind of with all these moves. It's going to be an interesting season, and I'm sure there's going to be a couple more surprises along the way.
Without question.
Not to mention, I forgot I should say honorable mention, Mr. Joe Flacco out to Cool Joe out to Denver. I'm glad he's out of the AFC North, to be honest with you. I watched him beat the Steelers way too many times.
Well, I tell you what, I have to work with that team via highlights, so I know that you know, Joe Flacco going there definitely brings a bit more wisdom and experience, I should say. I don't think Case Keenum is done just yet, but it does make a statement when you get Joe Flacco coming, who was you know, relegated to a backup role in Baltimore. So, and maybe they're doing it just for a competition, maybe to spark some fires, or but you know, who knows what's going out there with the Broncos.
I have a feeling Flacco's going to have a bit of a chip on his shoulder this year.
As he should. As he should.
And then one of my favorite players, Ryan Fitzpatrick, goes to the Dolphins. Nice. Great move. Great move. Nice. There's gonna be an electric 5 weeks of the NFL football next year in South Beach, and then and then an epic downfall as like clockwork. But it'll be great, and I can't wait to watch it.
Well, we can't forget the epic beards that are going to be donned during that time.
I can't wait. I'm starting mine now just to get there.
Brother Jay, you know me and you both. We are all a part of the beard clan. Beard butter for life, bro.
That's right. You have to. You have to. We've got a lot of really great things going on here at the Everyman Podcast. I wanted to talk a little shop a little bit here with everyone. We've been really lucky to have some awesome guests join us so far, and we're going to have some really great ones coming up that are going to be pretty surprising. We've had some really cool media pick us up. Some major websites, blabbermouth.net picked us up about the John Petrucci interview, quoted us there. Mm-hmm. We got it again on Ultimate Guitar. They wrote 2 articles about that podcast, man. 2 articles.
Yes.
Incredible. So big shout out to ultimateguitar.com and blabbermouth.net. Those are 2 websites that legit, I swear I've been going to for years to find out news about people that I liked and looked up to. So it's very cool to be on the other end of the operation there. We've got listeners now and subscribers in 7 countries, bro.
Nice.
7 countries.
World domination, man.
So Brazil, we love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brazil.
Finland, we love you too. Those 2 in Canada, don't know how you 2 found us, but thank you. So it's really great that this is starting to spread and get out there, and just if you enjoy the show, share it with your friends. Leave us a review on iTunes. Give us a 5-star if you like, 4-star if it's just okay, and tell us what you like about the show. Leave us a comment. Find us on Facebook, The Everyman Podcast. On Instagram, also The Everyman Podcast, all one word. And Podcast Everyman on Twitter. That's where we're going to make announcements about guests coming on the show, where Daryl and I are going to be taking some field trips coming up, doing some really cool on-site interviews that I think you guys are going to enjoy. Might make some new headlines as well. And of course, if you really enjoy the show and you want to give back to it a little bit, we got some T-shirts coming soon. So keep an eye out for those. Those will be on our Facebook, Instagram, the whole bit, merch. So it's going to be really awesome stuff. Looking forward to it. I can't wait. Daryl, As always, a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Always,
And
brother Jay. That's how we do, baby.
we will see you all next week.
Peace.